My name is Deepthi from Maxxcell, a TOEFL expert who has trained many students to get their desired score in order to get into an university abroad. In today's video, we will see how to avoid common mistakes that lower your TOEFL score. If you wish to receive updates in relation to such content, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel. In our previous video, we have seen how to build vocabulary for TOEFL exam. And in today's, we will see how to avoid the common mistakes that lower the TOEFL score. Now, many candidates for TOEFL examination lose valuable points due to the easily avoidable mistakes. By recognizing these pitfalls and learning how to address them, you can enhance your score. So, we are looking here to enhance your TOEFL score. Okay, so we will see a comprehensive overview of the common TOEFL mistakes and how to avoid them. Okay, so let us see a step-by-step approach. So firstly, let us see how TOEFL writing mistakes can be, what are the TOEFL writing mistakes and how to fix them. So what is the first TOEFL writing mistake is the poor structure. Now, when it comes to the essay writing or when your writing is unorganized or with no clear introduction, so if there is no clear introduction, the body paragraphs and conclusion, then what happens is that automatically you will score poorly. So what you need to do here is that in order to fix them, what you need to do is use a standard essay format. So this is something which you need to follow. So what is the standard essay format? So and standard essay format will always include introduction, a body paragraphs and conclusion. So you need to clearly state your main idea. Okay, so this is something which is required, which is the thesis statement in the first paragraph itself. And then you come to each body paragraph, which should contain one point and the supporting details. Okay, so this is something which you need to inculcate in your essay. Now, when you're writing essay with a time limit and compare them with a high scoring sample, so you need to always timeline yourself so that you are incorporating the time factor as well. Okay, so this is something which will help you. So the main thing is that you follow the structure. Okay, so standard essay format has to be followed. Focus on the main idea, and then at the same time you need to always highlight the main point with the supporting idea. So the main point is supposed to be included with the supporting details. Yes, okay. So apart from the introduction, body paragraphs and conclusion. So this is something which you follow automatically. You will score well in the writing section. Now let us go on to the next one. What is the next mistake which you would do is using informal or repetitive language. So when you are overusing basic words, so if you start overusing basic words. Okay, so what are the basic words? It can be good, bad, big, small. So these are some of the basic words. So you need to stop using them and also the usage of slang. So this is something which has to be avoided. Now, what is the solution for this? So what is the solution is that you need to use academic vocabulary. So stick to the academic vocabulary, and instead of big, you can say significant. So you replace big with significant. Okay, so this is something which you need to do, and you need to learn lot of synonyms and antonyms, and you need to start practicing paraphrasing. So this is something which has to be done when you're practicing for the test. Okay, so what you need to do is please start reading academic articles and also note down high level vocabulary. So this is something which you need to do. Now this is another one. So using informal or repetitive language is a big no-no. Then after moving further, the next one is neglecting grammar and sentence variation. So what happens is that writing only short simple sentences or making frequent grammar errors. So if you have grammatical errors, then of course you cannot score well in the TOEFL exam. So you need to stop doing this and you need to start using simple, compound and complex sentences. Okay, so this is something which you need to start using. So using simple, complex and compound sentences, and you need to also focus on the subject verb agreement. So this is something which you need to focus on, and the tenses. Okay, so this is something which you need to focus on. So neglecting grammar and sentence variation, it can lead to a lower score. So you need to avoid that. Okay, so how you can do it? By using a mixture of simple, compound and complex sentences, and also paying attention to the subject verb agreement and the different tenses which you are using in relation to the same. So you can use some tools like Grammarly. Okay, so these are certain tools which are available, and also you can use different editors to check your writing. So you can use the editors to check your writing so that you don't make mistakes. Yes, now let us go on to the next one. Now, next is in relation to, now we've already dealt with writing section. Now let us see what are the TOEFL listening mistakes and how to fix them. So the first one is ineffective note taking. Now many times what happens is that we try to write down everything instead of focusing on the key points. So what happens is that when you start writing everything, you get defocused. So what happens is you lose on important key points. So you're not supposed to do that. So what you need to do instead is that you need to focus on the key points. Okay, so this is something which you need to do. Second is on the main ideas. Okay, so this is another thing. And you need to also pay attention to these things like who, what, when, why. Okay, so these are certain points which you need to focus on, and you need to also focus on different symbols and abbreviations to take notes faster. So focus on symbols, okay, so that it will help you. Now also at the same time you need to practice TOEFL listening exercises and summarize lectures in your own words. So if you can summarize lectures in your own word, okay, so that would be something which will drastically help you to score well in the listening section. So you need to focus on your note taking. The next one in relation to listening is losing focus and overlooking important information. Okay, so what happens is that when you lose focus and you miss important points, automatically important details in the lectures are missed, and then you don't know what exactly to answer in relation to a particular question. So what you need to do here is that you need to train your ears to listen to English. So what you can do is practice listening to podcast, okay, then news, only listening, and the TED Talks. Okay, so this is something which you can practice, which will dramatically help you in boosting your listening score. And you can always predict answers before listening by reading the questions carefully. So this is something which you can do when it comes to the listening section. So you need to be focused, and you should never overlook the important information. Okay, now let us go on to the next section, which is the TOEFL reading section. So here, TOEFL reading mistakes, what are those and how to fix them? Let us see in reading section. So reading every word instead of skimming and scanning. So this is the biggest mistake which we do. So we waste time reading. So stop wasting. So you need to stop wasting your time. I'm reading each and every word. You need to only focus on. So stop wasting time. You need to only do skimming and scanning. Okay. So instead of reading the entire passage, you need to focus on what? Finding the keyword. So this is something which you need to do. Okay. And you need to scheme for what you need to scheme for main ideas. Okay. And for scanning, you need to only to locate the keywords. Okay. So this is something which you need to focus on. And when you scan the text, you need to locate the keywords from the question. So which is vital. And you need to also time yourself when reading and try to find answers faster. So this will help you to move faster your pace and also to find the answers. Fine. Okay, so let us go on to the next one in the reading section, which is misunderstanding vocabulary words. So what happens is that when you guess meanings of words without using context clues. So what happens is that when you start guessing, okay, without paying attention to the context clues, so then that is also a big mistake which you are doing. So you need to look for, what you need to look for is you need to look for synonyms and you need to look for antonyms. Okay, so this is something which you need to look for so that you know what are the meanings and easily find the answer. So look also for word roots, prefixes and suffixes. For example, pre and dict. Okay, so before and after. So you need to look for what is said before, okay, and what is said after, so that it will help you to relate to the context of the question. So what you also need to do is build TOEFL vocabulary list with definitions and examples. So you can build a vocabulary list with questions and answers. So examples, it will help you to who do well in the exam. Yes. Okay. So now let us go on to the next section, which is in relation to your speaking. So TOEFL speaking mistakes and how to fix them. Okay. So the first one is speaking too fast or too slow. This is one of the common mistakes which we do when we rush through. So when we rush through something, automatically what happens is that we start getting nervous and we also speaking too slow and hesitating. So this is something too slow, okay, or hesitating. So this is something which has to be avoided. So what you need to do is, this is something which you need to avoid, and what you need to do is speak at a natural pace. Okay, so this is something which we need to go with and focus on, which will help us to focus on clear pronunciation. So this helps us in, when you speak at a natural pace, automatically your pronunciation is clear. So there is clarity of speech, and you need to also use transition words. Okay, so what are transition words? For example, so focus on the transition words. So what are those? For example, in addition, on the other hand, firstly. So these are certain words which you need to focus on. So what happens is that when it comes to TOEFL speaking questions, please record your answers and listen to it for clarity so that you can improve upon the same. Okay. The next thing, what you need to pay attention when it comes to speaking section, certain things which you need to avoid is giving short and unclear answers. So what happens is that when you give one sentence answers, for example, one sentence answers, okay, instead of expanding. So you need to focus on expanding your answers. So you shouldn't do this. You need to expand your answers. So what you can do is explain why you think something is true. So you can give your opinion here, so that automatically elaborates your answer, and you start giving examples, okay, which also helps in expanding your answer so that you're supporting your response. Okay, so this is something, so you need to, how you do it is you speak about a particular point. Okay, so you give example in relation to that particular point, or you give a reason. Okay, so this automatically, this tip helps you to avoid giving one sentence answers and to go on with the expansion of your sentences. Okay. Now, apart from all this different sections which we have in TOEFL exam, the overall tip which you need to avoid, that is something which tip meaning the mistake which you need to avoid is in relation to time management. So, time management mistakes which you need to avoid and how to take care of them. Okay. So, certain time management mistakes and how to avoid them is that you spend too much time on one question. So, too much time on one question. So you need to understand that there are other questions to be tackled as well. So overthinking difficult questions and running out of time. So you are too much focusing on one question. So you need to take it easy. And if you are unsure, make an educated guess and move on. So how can you overcome this? This you can overcome only with practicing different mock tests. So if you start taking mock tests, it will help you to overcome this particular mistake because it will with a timer and it will also help you to improve your pace. Okay, so set time limits for each section and stick to them. So you need to set time limit for each section and you can stick to them. Okay, so be disciplined so that it will help you overall in avoiding mistakes and also which will indirectly lower your TOEFL score. So if you apply all the tips which are provided to you, that is, those are the solutions which are provided to you for the different mistakes which are highlighted in this particular video, this will always help you to overcome them and to do well and score high in the TOEFL exam. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like button to in order to receive more updates in relation to this particular information. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. So until our next video, see you then. Thank you so much.